Get ready to rage! This is Rantzerker number 18. Sarkeesian Screed Syndicate. As always, I am your host, Alison, and with me is the other host and professional rager.
The other. Just call me the other. Capitalize it.
The other. Well, Karen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. I didn't know if you were struggling with your nose or what have you.
I am. Hear that?
Yeah. These are the sounds that are going to be coming from Karen this time.
Yeah.
Not annoying dog sounds. This time it's going to be annoying noise sounds.
Well, there'll probably be some annoying dog sounds too, but yeah, I can't just sort of mute my mic just on demand if I'm screen sharing. So
yeah,
you're just gonna have to listen to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I can't screen share because my internet's is so shit. Anyway, let's shall we begin? Because what we're gonna do today is we're gonna cover Anita Sarkeesian's recent review of an Assassin's Creed, and yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting. I think it was a little boring to watch, but and full disclosure,
I think my words were, my snot is more interesting than this.
Yeah, I actually watched, before I watched the Assassin's Creed one, I watched the recent one, and I'm like, this isn't a fucking game review. This is like it's the cinematic equivalent of fucking porridge with nothing in. Like no sugar, no cinnamon, no raisins, just fucking bland boiled oats.
No, bland boiled misogyny.
Well, bland boiled criticism of misogyny, even better, huh? At least you can. All right, let's begin. Just
okay.
But in full disclosure, as we set all of this up, I am not a fan of either Assassin's Creed, and it's not that I don't like it. I just don't play it, and I never really played Tomb Raider. I think I played it like 15 years ago once, but I was more like a fan of Turok. So. Take from that what you will.
I am Turok.
Okay, so I don't think Karen played these two franchises either. So no. we're not. Full disclosure, we're pretty much useless fucks when it comes to reviewing these particular games. But at least we acknowledge it.
There you go, and we're not here to criticize these games. We're here to criticize the review.
Yeah, we're here to criticize. We're professional. Review critics of reviews.
Yes. We're critiquers.
Yep. Say that 10 times fast.
There you go. All right, Are we starting?
Yeah, we're starting.
Okay, because this is 9 fucking minutes long, and I got better things to do, like blow my nose and examine my snot. So
equal in height, one female, one male, 2 decades old, and those devilish smiles. You must be the Fry twins.
It's like a synthesizer vomited.
Yeah, I know, but it's better than that jaded culture bitch. That just her intro and outro were so loud, and then they were that weird fucking dubstep that just made me want to like stick a freaking toasting fork in both my ears, just one after the other.
Not all both at once.
No, because I only have one toasting fork. I mean, who has more than one toasting fork? I only have one, so you'd have to do them in sequence, and I'd be willing to do the second one no matter how much the first one hurt. You know.
Oh my god.
I'd be willing. All right.
It is the latest entry in Ubisoft's long-running open-world franchise. And although the gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from an Assassin's Creed game, Syndicate distinguishes itself from its predecessors. It stands apart not because of improved mechanics.
Is that Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't know. Is it?
With freckles. Hey, Katniss.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't watch movies either. I'm like I don't do any sort of media unless I find it funny in some way. So, okay, well, hi, Katniss, then.
It really looks like it was modeled after her.
Interesting. Okay, well, that would explain. I guess they want to capture that interest in that particular franchise.
Yeah.
but because its developers have made noticeable attempts to portray a more inclusive cast of characters.
Oh, fat kid. Or is that
Is that what?
is that a fat guy or is it a fat woman? It's hard to tell.
This is like an online male feminist, I think.
Yeah. It's David Futrell. Sorry,
Or Jimquisition.
I'm eating a grilled cheese sandwich right now.
Or maybe Shives after a few more cream puffs.
Mm.
Okay, so essentially what they're saying is the game has improved not because of actually anything related to games or what makes games fun, but because it now better represents their particular religion.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, like having fat people, that's kind of cool. Having a sort of a cast of characters that is actually that looks like, you know, I don't know, the people who live on your block or whatever, right? I mean, like I can understand that would be something interesting, and you know that not everybody is like a perfect 10, gorgeous, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally okay with that. I don't think
it doesn't really make the game better.
No, and I don't think it's necessary, but I mean, some of the most awesome characters in memory, and God, I wish I could remember this character's name. It was a male character played by a woman in a Mel Gibson movie, Sigourney Weaver movie called The Year of Living Dangerously about Cambodia, I believe. Right? And it's sort of really, really strange looking female actress. She's been in a number of things, playing a man very, very convincingly. And I mean, just those kind of unusual looking, unusual seeming, or they're not unusual seeming, they're unusual for media, right? But they're not unusual for just walking down the street, right? And I actually really appreciate that level of realism. That said, if you have protagonists that you're supposed to sort of identify with in the sense that you are the protagonist, whether it's, you know, like you're a man and you're playing a female protagonist or whatever, you're going to want somebody who's attractive. Almost always, right? Attractive just sells better, right? And if there's a love interest or a romantic interest in there, well, it's always just better to have an attractive romantic interest. So
I can't disagree.
Oh.
Syndicate follows twin assassins Jacob and Evie Fry on their quest to liberate the oppressed working class of 19th century London from ruling class thug Crawford Starrick and free the city from the Templars' control.
So it's like the labor movement.
I guess so. Well,
Yeah.
you'd think that if it was the labor movement, the villains would be the suffragettes.
Oh, now let's not get ridiculous, Alison.
Eh.
Oh, 10 pounds suffrage.
Okay, no.
Forget about that.
Let's not bring in this extra complication.
Mm.
Clear that Starrick is a monster from the first moment we see him because of his evil mustache and his penchant for punching desks.
You know what? I don't understand the evil mustache thing. I actually find his mustache attractive. And during that time period, that would have been sort of the style for men, not just villains who tie ladies to railroad tracks.
I thought the sinister mustache would be the one that's sort of the more free range mustache with the
Well, no, you remember those stereotypical, like the villain twirling his mustaches in the old silent movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the waxed mustache, right? Okay, so Ed, I am actually, because have you noticed pretty much none of the male characters other than this guy have facial hair at all?
That's really unusual. You're right.
At this point, right? You have like a brown dude, right? No facial hair. You have the twin, right? No facial hair. You have the fat guy that we thought was Futrell, except that he's got no facial hair. The only one who has facial hair. So it's not just that it's like this sort of very stylized mustache, right? And that stylized mustache is actually a symbol of effete, sort of elitism, right? You have time to groom your mustache to that degree, right?
But you need even more time to keep yourself well shaved.
No, actually, it's easier to just shave it all off than it is to.
Maybe in this day and age. But think about, before we had razors with like 6 billion blades. Yeah, or like just have a wall of razors and you rub yourself against it.
My boyfriend, he actually does he trims, he grooms his beard with a straight razor. So
Okay.
I mean, he's got facial hair going all the way up to like the bags under his eyes, right? That he has to just clear away with his
Wolfman Jack.
Oh yeah, no, he's crazy. He's like an Ewok. It's insane. And then 3/4 of the way down his neck too, right? And he takes care of that with the straight razor. And it's really not, if you're good with a straight razor, if you know how to use it, it's actually you spend less time having to rinse the razor out, right? Because there's no spaces between the blades for the hairs to get jammed up into. So you just go, go, and then rinse it off when you're done. It's actually quicker. It's just a little more potentially lethal.
I gotcha.
If somebody startles you.
Well, who wouldn't want to do that?
No, probably not. But I think that it's interesting that the villain is the only one thus far who has facial hair. That means maybe he grew that for Movember, in which case he's a fucking shitlord.
Oh my!
Yeah,
let's kill this fucker.
Yeah,
I hope he gets I hope he gets killed in the most brutal way possible. I mean, she's got a point though. She's got a point. He does have he's doing this stereotypical shit. He punches his desk. Like nobody's ever punched something when they're frustrated.
Well, he should be head desking, really.
Yeah.
But no, why would you hit a desk? Like hit a pillow or a punching bag or something.
Because it's
break your freaking hand and bark your knuckles.
It's more hardcore,
I guess he's willing to put up with the potential, fractured hand just to get his frustrations out.
All right, let's go.
Preceding the release of last year's Unity, Ubisoft came under intense.
I mean, come on, Karen. Like, we're watching this. How often are we gonna actually scream like that?
Me? Oh, I do.
Well, maybe not you.
God damn it!
Fuck!
What the fuck?
Okay.
But I don't hit pillows because I have Raynaud's disease, and that makes my hands my extremities highly susceptible to damage to my blood vessels. So I can actually like swat a fly and break a blood vessel. So I don't hit things. I just go. That's what I do. Yeah. And sometimes my hair stands up and turns like really, really bright yellow. And it glows.
And your power level goes over 9,000.
Over 9,000!
All right. Okay.
All right.
We might be delaying.
We should back it up for a second because
we started just bullshitting there.
Yeah, she was talking, and we interrupted her.
Of last year's Unity, Ubisoft came under intense public criticism for its repeated lack of playable female characters in the core games. 2012's Assassin's Creed.
Sarah, stop. Okay, did it actually come under intense public scrutiny for the what?
Intense feminist scrutiny?
But when did they become the public?
Oh, don't you know they're the world? They are the world. They are the children. Actually, they are the children, but yeah, no, I'm sure feminists had all kinds. Or actually, I'm sure Anita had all kinds of problems with that, and then other feminists took her up on it and agreed vigorously and kind of almost manically with her position on it. So. But yeah, I don't I don't know whether it's like, I don't think it's women who have this complaint. I think that most women who happen to be gamers really don't mind. I never minded playing, and I did play Turok, and I did play all kinds of other stuff. Duke Nukem and stuff like that. I would play it until I was going to puke from the car sickness, and then I'd take a break, and then I'd go back to it. Mario, all of these other freaking games where, even Mario Kart, right? One of my sons loved the way the Princess Peach's car handled, and I hated it. I was like, no. I'm the turtle. I think I liked the turtle. I liked the way his car handled, because all the cars were a little bit different, right? And like, we never picked based on gender. We just picked what was more functional. I mean, I don't identify with turtles.
I had a rant for this.
What's
or
that?
at least like the seed of a rant. It might not bloom into a full blown rant, but it's like, okay, a game. Okay, Karen.
I'm just getting it out of the way before you get started.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Okay, a game is like a game character. The point of the game is to emphasize your actions and their effect on the game world. The game character is just a vehicle for that. So in some ways, the game character is like a fucking mouse pointer. And it makes about as much sense to complain about the gender of a game character, because it doesn't really have one. It is a series of pixels that's intended to look like something, as it is to complain about the gender of a fucking mouse pointer. And believe me, actually, no, don't believe me. A mouse pointer's gender is male. You don't think that shape doesn't reference something.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. It references something, and that thing that it references is male. So I don't want to give feminists any ideas, but if you're having a problem with our avatar in a game being quote unquote male, then you should have a problem that the most ubiquitous avatar ever, the mouse pointer, is also male. There is no fucking way that a mouse pointer isn't male. It doesn't look like a fucking vulva. It doesn't look. It's not like a. It could have been. It could have been like one of those bullseyes, right? A bullseye. That would be sort of eonic. But no, it was phallic. They made it phallic, and it is phallic, and it is male. And you don't complain about that, probably because you haven't thought of it. But it's exactly the same fucking thing. A character in a game is just an avatar. They don't have any their gender is as meaningless as the gender of a fucking mouse pointer. All that matters in a game is the actions of the player and their effect on the world. That's it. That's what a game is about. The avatar is almost incidental. And the reason why we use male avatars is no one gives a flying fuck what men feel. Nobody cares that your avatar. Nobody's going to sit there thinking, oh, I just jumped to 50. I wonder if my avatar is scared. You know, yeah. I wonder if he's upset that he's just mowed through 50 people, just made, 50 women widows and, 100 children orphans or half orphans, whatever the hell it is. Anyway, fatherless. I don't give a shit. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's why they like playing men, because no one gives a flying fuck how men feel. Take an arrow to a knee. You don't give a shit. You're not sitting there thinking, oh, wow, that must really hurt. You don't care.
Yeah, no. The only thing you're thinking is like, fuck that stupid ding 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 life force low noise alert thing.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
So until people actually give a shit about men's internal life as much as they give a shit about women's internal lives, men are going to be the obvious vehicles for people to, are the obvious avatars for people to inhabit in games, because they don't have to care.
Well,
they don't have to.
Or they like they're more of, it's almost like it's more of a blank, right? And so you can insert your own personality into it a little easier. But I don't even think it's anything to do with like males. Males are definitely, I think, the ones that you mow down by the thousands. And I think that's probably indicative of our attitudes towards men and women. But I mean, like, you look at like Q*bert and fucking Pac-Man and all of that stuff, right? It's just, I mean, like, it's sort of okay, so I identify with Pac-Man? No. Like a little green circle, orange, yellow circle that gobbles things up. Like, no, I don't identify with that.
Yeah.
It is me on the screen making it, do stuff, right? So I think this whole idea that you have to identify with the characters and all of that, it's just with the avatar of the main character in order to actually play it is very highly questionable.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's and what I mean, but I'm just pointing out the absurdity of it. That you could reduce a more and yes, point arrows and pointers. Well, not arrows. Arrows are like arrows, but that does reference. It is a phallic reference. That's just the way it is.
Alison, get your mind out of the gutter.
But it's like the thing is that is as irrelevant. The use of that as irrelevant. The use of a gendered symbol as a pointer is as irrelevant as the use of a gendered symbol as a pointer in a fucking game.
Yeah.
They're both equally irrelevant.
Yep. Agreed. All right. We got to get through this. I can't stand this.
Ryan game, Liberation, starring a female protagonist, but it was not a core entry in the series, and in its initial release was relegated exclusively to handheld.
Relegated?
I know, because
everything is like it's like she's got the longest toes in the world, and nobody can help but step on them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably it wasn't relegated deliberately.
Oh, even if it was, so what?
I guess you're right.
Like, handheld goes anywhere. You're not taking your fucking computer or your Xbox or whatever the fuck Assassin's Creed plays on, on the bus or to grandma's house.
No.
Like, you're playing it wherever you go.
Well, imagine that they were thinking the thoughts behind that was, the handheld audience is more female, so maybe it'll appeal to them. It probably doesn't, though.
No, I don't know that it does. It appeals to some, I'm sure, but the ones that it would appeal to probably wouldn't care a whole lot about the gender of the playable character.
Yeah, well, they understand the fucking game. The point of the game is to take action, not to, I don't know, adore yourself.
Not to embody femaleness.
Your response to gamers' increased desire for more capable and powerful female options. Promotional materials for the game emphasize Jacob as the primary protagonist, leaving some wondering just how big a role Evie would play.
Ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, the unstoppable Fry twins.
From Syndicate's first moments, we see the twins together, and after completing a short mission with Jacob, we immediately start playing as Evie. Throughout the game, each twin is assigned specific missions that are catered to their individual interests in London's liberation.
Oh, they have different interests? I thought that would be, like, sexist.
Well, no, I guess they have particular focuses.
I know, because, like, this dude here, he's probably focused on, like, the whole labor union thing, and she's probably entirely focused on votes for women.
Oh, no, it looks like, okay, the disagreement for reading this is the Fries begin to disagree. Jacob started a gang called the Rooks, seizing the train of a gang boss named Kalot to use as a hideout. He mocked Evie's quest for the Peace of Eden, while Evie dismissed his campaign to take on the Templars as reckless and sloppy, although more interesting. So I guess Evie's is like sleuthing to find some sort of thing.
She's doing a puzzle game, and he's doing a first-person shooter.
All right, there you go.
Oh.
Well, what the fuck is wrong with the puzzle?
She's doing a hidden object game. That's what women like, and he's doing a first-person shooter. That's what guys like.
No, it's actually more clever. These people were a little more clever than I thought. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with the puzzle game anyway? They're fun.
Nothing. I play Tetris.
What's Tetris? Yeah.
It's like this.
Used to play Tetris so much I'd have the fucking dreams.
Oh yeah, no. When the the only thing worse than like when you close your eyes and you can still see the blocks falling, right? Is going to sleep and having do 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 from Super Mario 64 playing in your dreams as a background score.
Your subconscious is integrating something there.
Integrating some, I don't know what, but
It's trying to digest.
the most obnoxious piece of music ever written. But, yeah.
All right, let's continue.
Whoa!
Let's try to digest some of the most obnoxious fucking game reviews ever written.
Spaghetti, ravioli.
But outside of that, players are given the choice to alternate between the siblings while navigating Syndicate's open world. Sadly, as the larger story unfolds, Jacob's narrative dominates, meaning that if
because his narrative is doing stuff. Like,
it's interesting.
yeah, well, it's doing stuff. It's her narrative is looking for the hidden object, and his narrative is like interacting with people and killing shit.
Well, she could be interacting with people too. But let's not speculate too much.
But she's probably not killing as many people as he is. I'm pretty sure.
No.
players don't actively choose to play as Evie in side missions, they don't engage with her very often. It's frustrating that the story focuses increasingly.
Oh, so she wants them to be forced to play as Evie. Because if they don't actively choose to play as Evie on side missions, then, you know, they'll prefer to play her twin brother. Okay. Maybe she has different skills. Maybe she has realistic levels of health and stamina and strength.
Sorry, we just had like a huge influx of sound, so I had to turn off my mic and go deal with it.
Oh, but essentially, maybe the reason why players, if they don't actively choose to play as Evie for the side missions, they tend to play as her brother. Maybe they are not choosing to play as Evie because she has realistic levels of stamina and health and strength and stuff like that. And
I highly doubt that. Oh, did you go through the part where they described Evie and his character?
Not really.
Okay, I'm waiting for that.
As it approaches the end, not only because having the twins be truly equal protagonists would have been rare and significant, but also because Evie is easily the more compelling of the two.
Well, to you, yeah.
No, let's listen to her argument for why Evie is the more compelling of the two.
There was a slight complication.
How slight? The lab exploded.
Jacob.
You derailed a train.
Oh, he did. Did he?
Well, the train derailed and I happened to be on it.
Jacob is arrogant, pompous, and quick to action without understanding the consequences.
Yeah, he sounds interesting.
Yeah.
He has flaws, which means that he might have a character arc.
Yeah.
Which is much more interesting than what she's about to reveal about Evie.
While Evie is charismatic, focused, intelligent, and forced to clean up her brother's messes.
You know what?
Oh, she's his mommy.
Yeah. You know what? Evie is a boring fucking character.
People don't find a perfectionist mom an exciting character to embody?
Not particularly. Let me give you an idea why people probably prefer Evie's brother. Because he's got probably a compelling backstory why he's a bit fucked up. Whereas Evie is just a fucking Mary Sue, and nobody wants to watch a Mary Sue. And you know what? It isn't a matter of Evie having special powers or being cool or doing interesting things. Because I just recently watched a show called Jessica Jones, in which the main female character has superpowers and all of that shit. But she's still interesting because she's fucked up and flawed, and she does really bad things. But you know, you could still sympathize with her. It sounds like Evie's brother is like that, whereas Evie sounds like a fucking stick in the mud.
Yeah.
You're not interested in a character that doesn't arc.
Yeah, no, you're really not. I mean, some of the most compelling heroes in fiction are the ones that are the most flawed at the beginning and that don't even redeem themselves fully at the end. They don't even necessarily improve a whole lot. They might improve one thing about themselves. Their heart might grow 3 sizes about Christmas, but they are still an asshole everywhere else or every other day of the year, right? Those are the characters that are compelling, the characters that are interesting, the characters that make people feel like, okay, I can actually relate to this person because I'm flawed too, and I'm not perfect in every fucking way, right? But Evie just sounds like she's it's the worst thing you can do, even as a romance writer, and like you want to have sort of this, you want to make your male and female protagonists very attractive and sexy and the whole bit, right? But you always want to have, that female protagonist who's, if she's bookish and her front teeth are crooked and, there's something that mars her beauty just a little bit. She's just not quite conventionally attractive. And she's not necessarily she's not the most popular woman out there. And men aren't fawning all over her and all of these things. And her love interest is somebody who's equally not the perfect man, right? That's just what's interesting. Otherwise, it's just the same fucking 180 pages over and over and over again. Perfect girl meets perfect guy, and bam,
Yeah.
and rub one out. And because that's all you're going to get out of this book. You're not going to get an emotional experience, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, as long as male characters are allowed to be seriously flawed and have serious moral dilemmas, and the problem is that women aren't held to the same
moral decision sometimes.
Sorry?
And make the immoral decision sometimes. Sometimes really do bad things, even though they have the angel on their shoulder saying, "Don't do that." If male characters are allowed to listen to their devil, they're always going to be more interesting. Yep.
And it sounds like her brother is far more interesting. So once again, and she misses that. She misses the very thing.
Well, if Evie was like that, if Evie listened to her devil, she'd be like, this character is, picking on all of these negative stereotypes and tropes about women, as women as irrational, women as this, women as that, women as, temptresses, women as doing this bad thing or that bad thing, women as unreliable, women as weak, right? She'd be like, these are all the negative tropes that they're using to portray this female character, and I don't approve of those. Well, those are what make female characters interesting.
Yeah. Flaws are what makes characters interesting, like I said, because that allows a character to arc. It allows us to actually be compelled by their decisions if we know that they're capable of making bad ones. So when Evie has to make a decision, we actually give a shit because we know that she's not going to necessarily make the right one. Or even more interesting, she may make a decision that will have extremely negative repercussions for herself and others. That makes it interesting. Yes. But if she always makes the right decision and she never experiences any consequences, and the only conflict in her life is what her brother brings in, well, she's boring.
Yeah, and her brother's actually making shit happen, and some of the shit might be like really horrible shit, but at least it's shit happening.
Yeah.
Like the stories where, oh God, it was a line from the fucking Hobbit or something like that, right? The stories where everything went right are like so fucking boring, and you can tell them in like 5 minutes. And it's the stories where things went wrong, where people suffered, where everybody had a hard time, where everything was difficult, and people fucked up, and they escaped by the freaking seat of their pants, only, out of the frying pan into the fire. Those are the stories that are interesting. Those are the stories that you tell around the fireplace and that keep the little kids riveted for like hours, right? Those are the ones. Not the ones where you make all the right decisions every single fucking time and, oh, yeah, no, and then she made this right decision and this right decision and everything went perfectly and at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this woman. She's a pop culture critic and she doesn't even understand pop culture. All she understands is whatever it is, it's misogyny.
There were small, easy to overlook details put into Evie's character design that contribute to why she feels so refreshing in a AAA landscape that is notorious for excluding and sexualizing women. These details are sometimes easier to notice by identifying what she isn't rather than what she is. Evie is not objectified.
No, she's not, and that's probably the only thing that makes her remotely interesting. She's attractive, but she's not hypersexualized. She's got a nice body, you can tell, but I mean, it's not like she's showing it off.
Well, but the thing is that in the era, if you actually looked at the way she was dressed, they would probably think she was a harlot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even sure what Anita is trying to say here.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not sexualized by today's standards, and she's really not, particularly by today's video game standards. Like anybody who watches aka V Monroe's videos and looks at his avatar of I don't even know what character is that, but leaning forward with her boobs spilling out of something that really should have been just like a change purse. There are some very, very heavily sexualized female characters in games, and I'm not complaining about that because, frankly, I think that men are entitled to, like looking at sexy women. But this, I mean, like, I really do like this character design. I absolutely 100% do. I do think that a more realistic for the time would be all of her hair would be cut off. And she would be presenting as convincingly as she possibly can as a man in order to get away with wearing trousers and men's clothing, essentially, which is what she's wearing.
Yep. When there's that long silence, just keep going.
Okay. All right.
Not sexualized, and she is not created exclusively for the sexual arousal of a presumed straight male audience.
I don't know. She kind of arouses me.
She's dressed appropriately.
Wait. Doesn't that... Okay, all right, sorry about that. Doesn't that presume you know what the fuck straight men find attractive there, Anita?
It kind of does.
I mean, because there might be straight guys who find, competent and reasonably dressed women attractive. I mean,
yeah,
you're the one who's assumed. Well, I think the echo's back.
Oh fuck!
Let me let me try. Wait. I think. No. Ah, fuck! Be careful, because people will pop in if they see the hangout.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm having a bit.
Oh yeah, that's we understand that you're doing this sick.
Sorry. Okay, just one more moment.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Very good.
Well, but for how long? We don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I was gonna say is, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is a fetish for I don't know, what is the word for it? Like women dressed like her who are competent at action.
Of course, absolutely.
Or women who dress like men. I don't know. I mean, it's. I imagine that's probably not a hell of a lot of. Well, look at My Little Ponies. There's absolutely no secondary sex characteristics in any of those ponies.
Yeah.
And yet men still, I don't say they find the ponies attractive, but they find the personalities attractive.
Yeah.
So why is it such a stretch to say that maybe she is actually attractive to men?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know anything about her personality, and if she's like
we know what she says about her personality, which sounds like she's a bit of a stick in the mud.
But if she is a stick in the mud, man, she just needs a spanking.
Okay,
That'd make her,
my cat is going ape shit.
Oh my God, your cats.
Well, she has this sort of attachment to Jonathan, and Jonathan is doing something in the garage, so she's like, I want Jonathan.
Sorry.
Quiet. All right.
Okay.
Moves are not sexualized, and her combat grunts are forceful and fierce, instead of sounding like she's in the throes of ecstasy. Evie doesn't feel like a male character who was a last-minute gender swap, but like she was developed from the ground up with a strong, capable, and spirited personality.
Oh, God, I hate that. Strong, capable, and spirited. Fuck. Boring.
It's clear that she is, like that this character has been designed specifically from the ground up to be who she is. This isn't just like, oh, we were gonna put in like twin brothers and we just turned one into a chick. So I mean, like I can sort of get behind that. I absolutely can. But she's looking at this. I mean, I seem to recall there was a video game with some girl with a partner who happened to be like a pig. And, she, this female character that Anita was, praising as being like the perfect female character, essentially, was wearing a midriff bearing top with the, top edge of her pink underwear showing, and, all kinds of things that she's not paying any attention to, because she's enthusiastic about the character. So she overlooks all of those things that she would just pick on and nitpick about if she didn't like the character. Right?
Okay.
Oh,
So, echoes back.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes, I know. This is such a pain in the freaking ass. And unfortunate too. Well, actually my cat has finally stopped whining, so that's good.
That is good.
All right.
My dog hasn't even walked across the living room, clacking her toenails, coughing and farting at the same time, so it's like a miracle.
The protagonist isn't the only thing that distinguishes Syndicate from its predecessors.
Ta-ta! What an odd man.
We meet an amusing cast of historical characters such as Karl Marx, Florence Nightingale, and a charming Alexander Graham Bell.
I wonder if Florence Nightingale shared her thoughts on women in this game.
I doubt it.
I really doubt it, because her thoughts on women is that women had no capacity, on the whole, had no capacity for compassion.
Well, they certainly have a capacity for seeing the compassion towards their own circumstances.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Demanding compassion.
Yeah, because Anita is now demanding compassion for the fact that a marketplace, a consumer. What the fuck? What is my words? Games. Games. Sorry.
I don't know what your words are.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it, and it's going to come out. And it's all right. A consumer, like a marketplace, like a consumer thing, a consumer good, a medium.
Or a medium.
No, yeah. Not a demographic. It's not a demographic. It is what a demographic consumes. But it's not a medium, a product. Okay, a product category. Is there a specific word for a product category?
I don't know. Whatever. I just continue.
All right. So she's demanding compassion because there is a product category in which she would spend no money, none whatsoever. You could make the perfect game to appeal to Sarkeesian, and because it isn't a movie, she wouldn't buy it. That's God's honest truth. So she is a woman who's complaining that there is a product market that doesn't appeal to her, and she would never actually spend money in, but it needs to fucking appeal to her, goddammit, because reasons. This is the most rarefied wine. This is the most rarefied, pretentious, entitled wine in existence.
Well,
I'm not going to buy your product, but it needs to appeal to me because reasons.
Yeah, well, because she's saying that women are being cheated out of this wonderful form of entertainment. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't watch rom-coms. I just don't. They don't appeal to me, right? I mean, there's the very, very odd one, right? Like, I guess The Princess Bride, right, is a romantic comedy that I actually could enjoy. But, you know, like, it's just not for me. And I'm not going around saying, well, romantic comedies need to appeal to me. They need to appeal to me because I'm being cheated out of enjoying romantic comedies. No, because once they're made to appeal to me, there's probably going to be like people getting hacked to pieces and, you know, explosions going off and you know, conversations between, you know, what's his name? Say that one more time. I double dog dare you. Fucking from Pulp Fiction. God, why can't I remember his name?
No.
No, that Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, okay.
Conversations between Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta about like eating pussy, right? There would be all kinds of shit like that going on in a rom-com that was made for me, right? But then it wouldn't be a rom-com, would it?
No, and to be quite frank,
there's plenty of games out there that appeal to women. Women are over 50% of the fucking market. It's just that they're playing Farmville and Bejeweled and Bejeweled 2 and Bejeweled 3 and
Zuma,
you know,
if they ever made another one.
Like, honestly, there are people who are making, it's just that those games don't command the huge bucks, and they don't command the massive amount of I mean, those games, they happen through word of mouth, right? They don't happen because of multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns to try and sell enough copies at $80 a pop to recoup the $20 million that they put into developing the game, right? Because they didn't put $20 million into developing Bejeweled or fucking Farmville. They just didn't, right? And there's no way you could spend $20 million improving those games because they are what they are, right? You could never justify spending $20 million developing a new Farmville, right?
Or a new Zuma.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what the fuck Zuma is. Oh, fuck, I'm going to sneeze again. But essentially, there are plenty of games that appeal to women. They just aren't the games that command the glamour and the money, right? No woman is going to pay $80 to download fucking Angry Birds on her phone.
Nope. But the thing is, and you know what? I doubt even Anita Sarkeesian plays the girl games. And I don't want, you know what? They're not even good. They're the puzzle games. All right. She doesn't even play those games. She doesn't play any games. So she will be pissed as long as there is any kind of game. That what she's really pissed at is that we are not all watching feminist propaganda films.
Yeah. Probably.
We're not all in like a fucking Clockwork Orange getup with the things in our eyes. Can we go to the bathroom now? No! Okay.
No, not my lovely Ludwig fan.
But Evie and Jacob's allies also include Henry Green, a British Indian assassin, and Ned Weiner, a successful thief who
a British Indian assassin with no facial hair. Nobody has facial hair yet.
Just happens to be a trans man, and no one in the world thinks
just happens to be a trans man. Like I said that Evie would probably have had better luck throughout this entire game, right? This entire scenario. If it was actually happening in the real world, she would have been having better luck and been more effective if she had just
anything of it.
Done that.
These characters play supporting.
Wait. Just all right. Okay. Here's the thing.
This was not uncommon. This was not uncommon back then.
Yeah, well, it wasn't uncommon. This is the Victorian. What? Because I'm seeing like a fairly developed steam engines. So this isn't like the early 90s.
This is the Victorian era. Queen Victoria, Charles
Okay.
Dickens, right? Alexander Graham Bell. But it's essentially like this was really not that. I mean, it wasn't mainstream, right? But it wasn't exactly unheard of. It wasn't something that was, I mean, for a trans man, like trans women, that was like gay men, right?
Mm-hmm.
But lesbianism and trans women, or cross dressers, like women who dressed as men and presented as men, they were actually not unheard of, and they weren't really persecuted the way gay men and trans women were, or would have been.
Mm-hmm. Well, generally, prior to like, I'm pretty sure in the 1980s, I've read a history of homosexuality that indicated that there was a point in time where women who did dress up and pretend to be men were persecuted. I'm not. I'd have to reread it, but it seemed to be more in the case where they actually deceived a woman into marriage sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure it was entirely because of them cross-dressing. I'd have to look at it again, but I think that it was occasionally they did get persecuted for cross-dressing. I'm pretty sure that was an age before this, though.
Well, it was essentially, you're deceiving somebody into marriage. And given that marriage at the time was essentially an institution in which you would have children, that was the whole purpose of it, was to procreate and create a sort of a family around the idea of having children, which is why being impotent or whatever was grounds for divorce for a woman, right? Because if her husband couldn't give her children, then why is she even fucking married to him? And marriages could be annulled if they hadn't been consummated, because, like, if you're not going to fucking have sex with your wife, then why are you even in a marriage? Because marriages are for children. So it's essentially, I think it was mostly the deception that really, really put people off. But I mean, like these people like this trans man here, I mean, they would have been on the fringes of society for sure. They would not have been like 100% totally mainstream, and just nobody. It wasn't a situation where nobody would ever bat an eye or look sideways at them, but it wasn't something that was going to get you hanged.
Gotcha.
So,
but their inclusion is notable. While it might seem unrealistic to imagine women, people of color, and trans folks who are treated and respected as full human beings in 1868.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would that be difficult? I mean, there are situations where you have people who look different integrating, right, into a society of, so a Saracen or a Moor or whatever, integrating into a society that is predominantly white. And it's only when you have certain context placed on that you find that people are completely unforgiving. People did not necessarily object to one such person in their neighborhood, right? It's when you have a population of people who look different or who are from a different culture or whatever, and depending on the context, right? So blacks with the context of the slave trade, or Japanese within the context of World War II. But like it's not really that hard to imagine that most people would see people who look a little different as human beings.
Well, especially, I think that the British would probably, at that time period of time, they would probably be pretty used to people from India.
Yeah, just people just from different places who, I mean, they may have seen them as exotic, but they would certainly have seen them as human. They would have been curious about them, right? I mean, but that's
I really highly doubt that the casting of our ancestors as being so tremendously racist. It's
within certain contexts, I'm sure they were racist. But you know, just somebody who has a different color of skin or whatever, or different facial features, without any other context whatsoever, I just can't see it. They're still recognizably human. I think human beings have the ability to, especially if it's just sort of the odd person, just the odd person. It's not a minority living in sort of a culturally segregated neighborhood that, you know, where you have all kinds of tribalistic impulses coming out. It's just one person.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's not as remarkable as Anita is making it out, but let us move.
Realism is not really the goal in a game where assassins and Templars have been waging a centuries-old war over artifacts created by an ancient civilization.
You don't say.
And where you can leap from the top of St. Paul's Cathedral into a pile of leaves and walk away unharmed.
That's a pretty deep pile of leaves. It's a good thing she didn't crack her head on the freaking wood frame, though.
The inclusion of these characters works, not because of realism, but because of believability and internal consistency.
What?
That believability is the result.
What? You're making shit up here. Realism, believability, and internal consistency. So this isn't supposed to be a depiction of Victorian England. Okay, fair enough. It's sort of a fantasy or an alternative reality or a parallel dimension.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
The developer's conscious decision to make the presence of these characters normalized and respect.
Oh, it was a chick. Here I thought it was Futrell. Okay. It was the hair that got me, because these are very feminine features, but the hair is not long, right? Mm-hmm. And in that time period, it would probably have been quite long, but it's
also not really a feminine body type.
Yeah, well, not from here up, which was what I was seeing before, right? Actually, those are some broad freaking linebacker shoulders for that size of head, but essentially, yeah, no, you wouldn't expect a woman to have hair. This is a boy's haircut in this time period, for sure. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, is that a guy or a chick? I don't know, right?
Well, also broad shoulders.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you look at her from here up, right? And it's really ambiguous, right? So my apologies for not using her preferred pronouns.
Throughout this world, I quickly noticed a significant number of female combatants goading you into battle with the same tenacity and strength as their male counterparts. There are many valid concerns.
Oh, this is suffrage.
Yes, suffragettes. There they are.
Finally.
Concerns around portrayals of violence against women in games, because too often such scenarios trivialize the real-world epidemic of gendered abuse.
Okay, it's an epidemic. It occurs in every single country on the planet. So as long as there's one woman who's ever been hit in every country on the planet, it will remain an epidemic, according to that stupid bitch at the UN. Like, no. Okay, 1 in 3 women globally, 1 in 1 men. 1 in 1 men. 1 in fucking 1 men.
Just to give context, around the world, men are 3 times more likely to die violently, yet it is an epidemic of violence against women. And the other thing I would like to point out is she's saying that women are depicting as goading and goading violence, and also that they are depicted as competent and presumably evil, that they have malicious intent and the ability to act it out. You realize that all of those components, plus being fully clothed, all of those components are what are components of threat narratives to justify violence against a group of people.
Yeah.
If we actually universally depicted women as both capable and willing to engage in violent action against other people, we would have less sympathy for them, part of the reasons we have less sympathy for men is because we are constantly saying to ourselves, oh, they're the violent, or depicting male violence and depicting the malfeasance of men and saying that men are the primary reason why there's violence against women. Well, I mean, there are two relatively intelligent sapient species on this planet who have the potential to be violent towards each other. So yes, and women are the predominant reason for violence against men. So what? It's a fatuous statement. But like, depicting women as not being weak, not being frail, being aggressive, having evil intent is what would eventually make it as acceptable to be violent towards women as it is towards men. People who are seen as vulnerable, including half-naked people. In fact, by definition, half-naked people are seen as vulnerable. Vulnerable people are seen as people we want to protect. So what she's saying is, by depicting these women as not being vulnerable, not being half naked, we are actually justifying the violence against them. If that was the depiction, I mean, I don't want to interrupt her while she's making a mistake, but if she's promoting this depiction of women everywhere, all the violence against women campaigns would be just like, no one would be like, well, no, we don't care, because women are obviously just as deserving as violence as men are. So why would we care when violence is enacted upon them? Because they're aggressive, they have evil intent. We see that they have evil intent, and they're just as invulnerable as men. So who cares?
They have agency, and the origins of their actions germinate within themselves. Their actions are not simply reactions to things that happen to them. You know,
the consequences of their actions.
Yeah. So we're gonna hold them accountable for. So when a woman does get up in somebody's face and provoke and provoke and provoke and provoke and poke his chest and like freaking, you know, smash her freaking plastic beer cup against his face over and over and over again while repeating the same stupid fucking shit over and over and over again in front of everybody, and undermine him and belittle him and humiliate him in front of everybody, and then he finally pushes her down, we're going to be like, yeah, that fucking bitch had it coming.
Yep. So what she's doing is promoting.
There's no reason to ever hit a woman. No, we're gonna be like, that fucking bitch, she had it coming.
Yeah. This is what Anita is promoting. And you know what? If we actually get to the point of saying that women are just as culpable for the consequences, like of their actions, and we're just like men, you know, if a man gets punched, we're like, well, what did he do? What did he do? Did he provoke someone? Well, let's do that with women too. No. It's not victim blaming. It's treating women like men. Good. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like Bill Burr said, every fucking time I ever got punched in the face, there was a point driving home, right? Where I was just sitting there thinking, yeah, I was kind of being a dick back there.
Yep. And
right?
That's how we would treat women.
He always fucking understood that, you know, if anybody ever fucking punched him in the face, he probably contributed to the situation through his own actions.
Yeah, let's have that attitude towards women too, Anita.
I think so. I would love that.
Yeah, let's end this bullshit.
I'm fully behind her support for characters like this freaking evil bitch who's essentially dressed in men's clothes, right? I'm yay. Let's have more of that. Let's desensitize society to holding women accountable and giving them back as good as they dish out.
But Syndicate avoids this problem by framing the female enemies as competent, capable, and practically dressed.
Oh, look at this. Let me just look at that. That's a mannish face, isn't it?
Well, you know why people generally show women in naked when they're receiving violence? Because it makes the violence more horrifying.
Yeah.
Because naked people are vulnerable. So when someone who is naked is being hurt, it's like an instinctual response to see the violence as worse.
It's like the pictures from Abu Ghraib. Yeah. Right? All of the American forces, people who were torturing those guys, they were all fully dressed, and all of the prisoners were naked. Often with their faces covered, which actually made them look more vulnerable.
Yep.
Not less, and more human, not less.
So what she's complaining about, the fact that we depict women as vulnerable by being unclothed when they receive violence, that's actually why we care more. Because we have that association. And
Yeah.
because that association is constantly reinforced by the depiction of women as being vulnerable when they receive violence, rather than like this woman who is seen as competent and goading.
Well, yeah, and not just that, but I mean, if you look at the contours of her forehead, her face, everything, she's not very neotenous. She's certainly not sexually attractive in the way that Evie is. She looks like she's not young. She's not one of those sort of young white women on an American campus that everybody's freaking out about because, you know, they might have to hear an opinion that they don't like. She's a little bit hardened. Actually, I quite like this entire character design, but yeah, she's really, there's nothing about her. There's nothing about her at all that is remotely going to evoke our sympathy, right? It's all, you know, it's all covered, and even her stance, you know, with her shoulders back and her arms like this, you know, we're going to feel much less sympathetic toward this woman. So, but all right.
Dressed. Syndicate also addresses a criticism that I've leveled at the series in the past: the presence of prostitutes who could be recruited as cover to help its male protagonists blend in. I kept waiting for these bundles of objectified women to appear on every corner, but Ubisoft has completely removed this blending in mechanic, and with it, its troubling portrayals of women as non-playable sex objects.
Oh,
for fuck's sake. You realize that the non-playable characters have their own. If we were going to go into this ridiculous world, let's take Anita Sarkeesian's ridiculous logic and just accept it for a moment. The non-playable characters are not being mind raped by the fucking game player to do whatever the game player wants. So they actually have, in this fucking topsy-turvy world, they actually have more will than the game player. Than the protagonist, they have more will than the playable character. The non-playable characters have more independent will than the playable character. So you're saying, oh, these sex objects, these sex, well, you still have to, I assume, give them money to get their services. You don't have to do that with the playable character. You can just mind fuck them. You just force them to do whatever you fucking well want. You can do, I'm going to make you murder babies. There's nothing you can do about it, guy. Oh, in fact, I'm going to make you have sex with one of these prostitutes. Nothing you can do about it because I'm the one controlling all of your actions. Okay, well, you've just raped the playable character, your avatar, because you forced him to have sex against, we don't even know what his will is, because he has no will. He has no internal life whatsoever. He's just a skin that we wear. This is where this ridiculous logic goes. It goes into something fucking hell, like just the ridiculous epistemological fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's phenomenology of mind rabbit hole that you never get out of. It's ridiculous.
I agree. And honestly, did this guy choose to be fat? I don't think so. And did this lady choose to be fat and look like a giant thundercut? Probably not. How about this person here? Did they get to choose all of their role in the story? They're all non-playable characters too, right?
Well, that's not my point. My point is that the non-playable characters, because you are not directly controlling all of their actions, you have to actually treat them like human facsimiles of human beings. So if they're prostitutes, you got to give them money or they won't have sex with you. If they're storekeepers, you got to give them money or they won't give them their goods. If they're opponents, they have the ability to fight you. So they have a facsimile of free will. The non-playable characters have a facsimile of free will in this universe. The playable character does not.
Just as the players will.
just as the players will. She never actually thinks about that. Why is it that we're perfectly okay? We're much more okay with a playable character who is male and has absolutely no free will. So we just sort of drive him along like a fucking car. He is a literal object. Well, he's an object that does stuff like a car. We just drive him along like a car. And she never points that out. At least those prostitutes could say, no, you don't give me money, I'm not going to help you.
Yeah.
The most objectified character in a game is the playable character. And
Pretty much.
we like them male. We like them generically male.
We kind of do. Oh my God, phone. Fuck off.
If you want to go down that stupid route, okay? If you want to do at least honestly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Women may be present as soldiers and leaders throughout the criminal ranks of Syndicate's London, but the same cannot be said for people of color. Despite the presence of Henry Green, this is an overwhelmingly white game.
Because London was an overwhelmingly white society. Isn't that interesting?
It's a huge missed opportunity for Syndicate, which could have taken the same approach to people of color that it took to women.
Oh, make them boring and perfect?
Insert them as tokens, like window dressing. Progressivism. Doesn't have to make sense to the plot. I mean, why doesn't she just give money to developers in countries where they're not predominantly white and let them develop a game about their cultures and mythologies?
Oh, because then it wouldn't be diverse, because in India, most of the characters would be Indian, and in China, most of the characters would be Chinese. And
I don't think they would. I don't think she cares that there wouldn't be white people in an Indian. Game.
I know she wouldn't. But I mean, I don't understand what this obsession is when we actually look at, say, ancient Chinese history, the Ming and the Han dynasties and all of that stuff. We don't complain, okay, that we're only learning about Chinese people and the histories were recorded primarily by Chinese people, right? We don't do that, right? We only do that with our own history, the history of Western society, the history of Europe, the history of Canada, the history of the US, right? That's when we do that. Why are we only reading about white people, and historical documents recorded by white people? I don't understand why is all this focus on white people? Well, because Europe and, Europe was predominantly white people. You wouldn't make the same complaint in China or India or the Middle East, when studying Chinese history or Indian history or Middle Eastern history or African history. It's the most bizarre fucking double standard I have ever come across. And it's the sole purview of the political left. Absolutely 100%.
Well, religion makes you do strange things.
Throughout the factories and palaces of London, just a normalized, internally consistent aspect of the game's world. And for all of its noteworthy efforts where representations are concerned, Syndicate's main story falls short in many ways. The game's writing is quite good in isolated moments. Characters come across as witty, brash, and sometimes endearing, which only makes us want to get to know them better. But sadly, the overall development of the characters and their relationships is lacking.
Yeah, because it's a game.
Well, and also because they're not feminist, right? These characters they're not feminist enough, and therefore they're lacking. I mean, that's the only real thing. I mean, everything here seems to look quite interesting, and it seems to look fairly complex and something that if I had hours and hours of fucking time, I might actually be interested in doing. I'll wait until an actual game reviewer comes out with a review of it before I, really stick to that. But I mean, from everything that I've seen, seems to, be pretty cool, even all the way down to the costume design, right? it's just they're not characters that she wants to see, and so they're lacking.
Okay,
Its plot is woefully underdeveloped, given just a few lines and a few significant looks between characters. Similarly, the dynamic between the Fry siblings has its highs and lows, but the tension between them is given so little attention that their story arc feels like chunks of it are missing. The narrative presents all the ills plaguing the London of 1868 as a result of the evil Templars, and presents the solution to those ills as killing lots and lots of people.
Yes,
Fighting-
again.
Yeah. Honestly. I mean, like, okay, so I know what you would find more interesting in this game is like a massive UN panel where everybody like, you know, sits and discusses, you know, how that guy told me that I suck and therefore I think these laws should be changed. I think that you'd find that very, very interesting. But I don't think that it would make a very exciting game. I really don't. Diplomatic solutions rarely make an exciting game or action movie.
Or movie.
Yeah.
Phantom, you know, like the prequels. The Star Wars prequels.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Comprehensible politics. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
generally not a good plan.
No, really, really not. Just get to the fucking pumping that missile into the freaking arsehole of the Death Star already.
Yeah.
To liberate the oppressed working classes of London would, in reality, be a noble and extraordinary goal. But reducing such an important issue to an excuse for violent AAA game mechanics does.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, because of course every industrialist was such a fucking jack. Like, I'm just going to treat my workers to the worst conditions and fall.
Oh, it doesn't even matter. It's just like reducing this situation. Okay, even if the situation is 100% as she depicts it, right? Which is like horrible. The industrialists were like 100% exploiting the workers. The workers had to fight tooth and nail through all kinds of violent stuff, you know, to get just reasonable rights at work, right? Reasonable labor standards, whatever. Okay. She's like, and you know, it's just been reduced to an excuse for AAA game freaking mechanics, right? Okay, that and everything else, right? Like the fucking ever play Age of Empires, right? All of the wars between all of the fucking the Turks, the freaking the Persians, the fucking everybody, right? All of these, and you just pit them against each other, and oh my God, you know. We're talking thousands of years of geopolitical complexity reduced to a single 20-minute fucking session on Age of Empires. Holy fuck.
Being
How
reduced to being trampled by elephants.
Yeah. The whole thing's fucking reduced to Karen's desire to just make lots of elephants, set them all fucking loose, and watch them gore the king.
Yeah. It all comes down to that. Okay,
and it doesn't matter whose king it is. It could be the Teutons king, could be the Britons king, could be any fucking other group's king. I don't care. I just want that fucker to be gored by my elephants. I've reduced thousands of years of geopolitical reality to my desire to watch some dude in pretentious robes get gored by elephants. You're a bad person.
Yeah, you're terrible.
Bad
You're fucking awful. What is? Not only does your dog make ridiculous sounds constantly, but you are a truly horrible person.
You know, like all that time that I was playing out those scenarios every fucking time and honing my strategy, you know, how many elephants do I have to build and where exactly should I send the first batch to set on rampage and draw all of the enemy guys away from the castle, right? And then send my last boat of elephants there to trample it down and gore the king. The whole time that I was doing that, I was never actually thinking about the incredible amount of human suffering, right, that was inflicted on other societies by the Persians. I was just thinking, these fucking Persians are awesome, man. They got elephants.
Oh, you're such a fucking Persian-loving monster.
Oh my God.
You're like the Persian Hitler.
I never thought, why would the Persians be so pissed off at the Teutons? Like, why would they want to kill the Teutons? Why would they want to gore his king with elephants? Maybe I should, delve back deep into the roots of this political conflict, right? And maybe I could come up with some diplomatic solutions that would carry the day in a more civilized way than goring their king with elephants. I never thought of that. Oh, fuck, I'm a horrible person.
Yeah, why didn't you create a Persian UN where people could talk
Oh,
endlessly instead
Anita,
of being gored by elephants?
Anita, thank you for showing me exactly who and what I am.
Yep.
I'm a very, very, very bad person.
You are a naughty girl.
All right, moving on.
Little more than trivialize it. Freeing child.
The way I trivialized the goring of the Teuton king with my glorious Persian elephants.
Laborers in each district is as simple as following signs that say kill and free on the heads of targets. And for all of the Fry twins' charms and good intentions, they are outsiders taking over a struggle that they have no part of.
Oh, they're colonializing it.
Whoa, wait, what, Anita, that get away from that can of worms. You're about to undermine all of your own arguments. Wouldn't
They're
that be
outsiders colonizing a struggle.
yes,
They're
but wouldn't
somebody else's challenge.
yes, but okay, all right, you know the obvious train is coming into town, right? Anita, you just got through talking about how there is no people of color in 19th century London, in a game depicting 19th century London. And you're talking about these two colonizing someone else's struggle?
Shh, Alison. Shh. You're going to give her an aneurysm. No, and then she represents feminism, TM, that movement that brings all other struggles under its rubric, takes them over and begins dictating how they should, actually do shit, right? Oh, except for the only struggle that feminism wants really no part of is the plight of women under Islam.
Well,
That's the only one they seem to just be like, that one's too hot to touch, right? And I don't think that they should touch it, and I think that it would be horrible if they did, right? But gay, lesbian, trans, bisexual struggle, Black struggles in the United States and elsewhere, all kinds of class struggles between poor and disabled people, immigrants, everybody, right? Those are all feminist struggles. They all fall under this big, huge umbrella of feminism, where feminism gets to actually legitimate them, right? Legitimate them or cast them out. Okay, but see, these two here, these two people here, two individuals.
I just gotta go for a second.
Yeah. Okay. They're not allowed to help with this injustice that they
Be right back.
Okay. They're not allowed to help with this injustice that they see happening because it's not their struggle. Right? So when feminism decides that it wants to speak for gay men, well, we can tell them it's not your struggle. Fuck off. When feminism wants to speak for Black people, it's not your fucking struggle. So fuck off. Right? What are you doing? Colonializing things? I don't think that that's okay. I don't think that coming in and colonizing other people's struggles with your feminist bullshit is okay. I think that you should probably just do what you suggest for these two people, these two individuals, and just ignore it, stick your noses out of it, go about your own business, nothing to see here, no reason to get involved, fuck off.
Yeah, I would like to see less, wealthy white women who are politically connected yap about how their struggles resemble that of disenfranchised Black men. No, they do not.
That would be so wonderful if they could stop doing that.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. There's never been a point in time where there has never been a point in time where those struggles were comparable.
White women were treated remotely like black men were treated.
Or any other marginalized group of men, including poor white men. Or even men, period.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
The game presents them as liberators, London from oppression, but they're really just conquerors, replacing one crime syndicate's role with another's.
Feminism, thy name is projection.
Oh my God, Anita, you've just disemboweled your own stupid ideology.
Like literally, Ellie Smeal at the Now conference when they were amending their charter, right? And they were whereas women's reproductive rights, blah 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 blah, right? And the war on women, okay. She recommended that they take reproductive out of there and just say women's rights, and then add and gay rights, LGBT rights, workers' rights, and immigrant rights. Okay, so she recommended in every single clause, there were about 8 or 9 clauses, whereas clauses, and then therefore shall we, blah, 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 right? Under the heading War on Women, she actually recommended that they eliminate the reproductive rights thing to make it just women's rights, any women's rights, anywhere, having to do with anything, and then add workers' rights, immigrant rights, and LGBT rights under the rubric of the war on women. Under the fucking rubric of the war on women. And she actually, and then she said, oh, and I'd like to add, and the war on women at the end of each clause, right? See, we're just putting war on women everywhere we can fit it in, right? And all of her motions passed. The charter was amended to reflect that, right? So now, according to the National Organization for Women, workers' rights, immigrant rights, and LGBT rights fall under the rubric of the war on women. Oh, and they're just going to say war on women whenever they can because, it works.
They're not a crime syndicate who are basically appropriating other people's struggles for themselves in order to bolster their own.
Conquering other movements and using their issues to further their own purposes and advance their own power. No. No, they're not doing that. Moving on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Evie and Jacob Fry. And as of this moment, you all work for us.
Okay. That was okay. No, that really is a feminist statement, isn't it?
The London of Syndicate is both gloomy and lively. It's a place where you'll find yourself in rollicking carriage chases and leaping from boat to boat across the muddy waters of the Thames like you're playing an 1868 version of Frogger. But it's also very much like the cities of earlier Assassin's Creed games. You climb to the tops of beautiful buildings to take in a spectacular view of the city all around you, only to find that nothing awaits but more of the same cookie-cutter activities you've done already. In gameplay terms, this is just another Assassin's Creed.
I know, it's another Assassin's Creed. Oh my goodness, because people really liked the first ones. And so they made another one.
This is just another Transformers movie.
I know, they just they took what everybody liked about the previous Assassin's Creed games and they just recycled it in this one because people really like it.
This is another Twilight movie.
Honestly, it's another space opera. It's another freaking, romance novel. Oh, boy meets girl. Girl doesn't like boy. Boy wins over girl. On page 165, they have sex. On page 200, they get married. Oh my God, it's the most amazing thing. It's the exact same. Harlequin romances, right, are the most popular. They are the best-selling books out on the fucking market out of any imprint, imprint of a publisher. So you have the publisher and then you have the series of books, the imprint. Harlequin romances are the most popular selling books out there for fiction, right? in a very, very competitive romantic fiction market, which is the largest selling genre of fiction out there, right? And oh my God, what do? They dictate to you. If you actually want to write a book for them, they dictate to you by 150, right? By page 20, the protagonists have to have met and had some tension. By page 150, they have to have had sex. By page 180, they have to have had a conflict and maybe have a falling out, maybe be breaking up. Everything is horrible. And then by page 200 or whatever, they get back together and they get married. That's the formula. Oh my God. And they recycle it all the time. And somehow it just keeps selling. That's the most fucking amazing thing.
Jesus. Like, and the other thing is that she said that this game was like fresh, probably because of the having a fat person, a trans person, and a woman main character.
I don't actually think the trans person was that freaking.
What the hell are you doing?
I really don't think the trans person was that out of the ordinary for the time period, but especially for people who are operating on the fringes of society, like two people trying to eliminate a crime syndicate or a labor syndicate or whatever the fuck would have been doing, right? They would have been operating on the fringes and they would have been dealing with people who are not necessarily accepted in the mainstream of society. Oh my goodness, like a trans man, right? Or like actresses, opera singers, all of those people that, acrobats, all of those people who lived on the fringes of those societies at that time. So, like, just absolutely fucking retarded. Are you back, Alison?
Yeah, my cat was walking over things that he wasn't supposed to be walking over.
Unbelievable. You should beat your cat more often.
No, I'm not gonna beat my cat.
Beat it against a wall like they do in Monty Python, The Holy Grail. Remember all of those scenes that opened up with an old lady like swinging a cat against a wall? It was awesome.
And like some other Assassin's Creed games, Syndicate is plagued with plenty of wonkiness. Enemy AI often behaves in erratic ways. NPCs sometimes become unable to fulfill mission-specific functions. And occasionally, things just break entirely.
All right, that's cute. That is cute. These are actual genuine gripes.
Yeah, but
these are actual genuine complaints.
I think that a lot of, I like I said, I don't play this game, but I think that this is sort of like glitchiness like this is common.
Oh, of course it is.
What I've heard. It's like, so it may be a genuine gripe, but it's sort of like games. Why do you even,
Yeah. No, but at least she's complaining about something that is actually
game related.
Gonna annoy the players, so.
Despite all of its problems, Syndicate deserves to be acknowledged for its cast of characters, and particularly for its treatment of women. The game's narrative leaves much to be desired, but Syndicate gives us an image of a world in which the existence of women as people is treated as completely normal.
You mean the existence of women as agents?
Yeah.
And you just have no idea. You just have no idea what a world that included the existence of women as moral agents would look like, Anita, because you would no longer have a career.
Yeah. You'd be done.
Nobody would testify at the UN. Everybody would have told you to woman up, suck it up. Rape threats, who the fuck cares?
Yeah. I mean, was he good looking? Like, why wouldn't you just enjoy it? I mean,
yeah. No. Honestly, at least you know that you're attractive. Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is your problem, lady? Like, and rape, men raping women? Have you ever tried to nail a live fish to a board? I don't think that's even possible. Like, what is this ridiculous thing you're talking about? It's not possible for a man to rape a woman. It's not possible. I mean,
it's not possible for anybody to do it. For anybody to rape a woman. I mean,
look at the biology. How the hell would he get in if she wasn't lubricated? And if she's not if she's lubricated, she obviously wants it.
That's right. And and if she's squirming around and stuff, I mean, like, honestly, like, what kind of woman wouldn't be able to prevent that?
Yeah. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, ladies. Have you ever tried, even in a willing encounter, to get penetration when you're dry? And you're telling me that you can't stop it with you squirming around and fighting back?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
stop it.
No. And that poor guy, right? Like, you know, he's probably got tears on his penis. Like, I can't believe you would do that to him.
No, not just that. But if he's unattractive, if you're not getting wet because he's unattractive, you're a sexist motherfucker. You are a totally sexist. You know what? Any woman who says she's raped is actually sexist, because what right does she have not to desire a man? I mean, if he's fat, she's obviously fat phobic. If he's somehow got a mental disability, she's obviously ableist. If he's black, she's obviously racist. If he's, well, I guess if he's white, maybe.
If he has BO, like, okay, maybe there. Maybe then. Maybe
that. Maybe if he's got like visible skin disorder or some shit. No, but really, Anita, really, what is this bullshit? Like, how is it even possible for a woman to be raped by a man? How is that even possible? How is that even a thing?
Yeah, no, I just, she does not understand. She does not understand the thing that she's toying with the idea of, you know, really, really encouraging this view of women as moral agents, which I encourage. I absolutely do. And I would never actually say any of those things about a woman being raped by a man, but not in seriousness, but in the sense of, if we saw women the same way we see men, and we don't see either as entire human beings. We see women as moral patients and we see men as moral agents, and that denies each half of their humanity, because we are both moral agents and moral patients, all of us. At least all of us adults. And so, but she doesn't realize the power that she would be letting go as a feminist if women were viewed that way. The amount of sympathy and compassion that they would lose, the amount of accountability that they would inherit from that transition in people's perceptions. There would be no such thing as stop slut shaming culture, because you know what? If you're going to behave slutty, well, that's your choice, and so you're going to live with the consequences of your choice. You know, like we
retards in the chat who think that we're being honest. We fight against these attitudes when they're expressed towards male rape victims. But the reality is that if women were viewed as men, this is what people would be saying to female rape victims. You think that feminists think that victim blaming is bad for women now? It can become many, many orders of magnitudes worse, because they could be male victims. Literally, people could be saying to them, men raping women? That's not even possible. Yeah, how does that even work?
And besides, feel lucky. High five.
Exactly. This is, and if you have a problem with what we're saying, why don't you have a problem when said to men and male victims?
So there you go. There you go.
There you go.
And then I'm gonna like go blow the fuck out of my nose, because I've been doing that intermittently, but it's just not enough. I need a big long session.
And that is certainly refreshing and sadly strange in a AAA gaming climate that still so often struggles with representing women as actual human beings.
No. It does not struggle with representing women as actual human beings any more than it does struggle with representing men as actual human beings. It's extremely difficult to represent any actual character, whether it's in fiction, in a movie, in a game, whatever, as an actual fully rounded human being. And I'm sorry, but men get the short end of the stick just as much as women do. You think all of the men that get gunned down, all of the men that get stabbed, all of the men that get their throats cut, all of the men who, do you think that the freaking villain who cuts the woman's throat in front of the male protagonist just to, get that male protagonist urge the player to kill that motherfucker? Do you think we know anything about his childhood, his abusive mother, his alcoholic father, You know, do you think we care about it? No, we just care about what he did in the last 10 seconds. That's it. That's as human as he gets.
Yep. I think this is over.
Thank fucking God.
And the echo's back.
All
But you can
right.
just stop the screen share. Oh, man. Jesus. I was thinking that we could try for the next one, at least the last bit, because it is pretty hilarious. Do you need... Oh, I sense that you are draining your nasal cavities at the moment.
I actually think I need to have it like a big nose blowing session and then maybe a nap. I don't want to do any more, Anita.
Just, it's not Anita. It's one of her minions.
Oh God. Okay, send me the link.
Okay, well, I sent it to you via Skype. All right, fine. I'll find it again.
Okay, did you?
Yes. And I have to. Just give me a sec. Nope. Give me a sec. Here we go. Copying. Can you do your nose blowing really quick?
Oh, it's going to require more than I have to give it right now. Oh.
Yeah, the music sort of starts really bad.
Okay, this is like a 9-minute and 49-second
video.
video.
Go to the last 3 minutes.
The last 3 minutes. So
do. Let's play Tetris. Okay. All right. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm screen sharing. Da, da, da. I hate you, Alison. I really don't like.
I know you hate me.
You're so mean.
You and me.
Expand that fucker, woman.
The new Tomb Raider games clearly want to humanize Lara, and exploring the emotional and psychological cost of what she's putting herself through would have made her seem more human.
Okay. You see, this is what's interesting. No one gives a shit about when they're playing a male character about humanizing him. They just want to wear him like a skin.
Like what are
like
we supposed
Buffalo
to?
Bill.
She's supposed to take a break every like 10 minutes through the action to visit her therapist. What?
Yes. I think there's some sort of therapy involved in this. I think I might have done.
There may be cases, right, of male protagonists who you get to sort of during cutscenes and stuff, you get to sort of see more into their souls, right? Like they might maybe express themselves in a certain, in a certain vulnerable way, or hint at some of the things that some of the traumas of their past that made them who they are, or whatever, right? Why are those interesting? Because he's a man and he's doing that, right? To have a woman, Lara Croft, suddenly start talking about her relationship with her mother in a cutscene or something like that, I don't think it's really going to have the same impact, because, we've all heard women bitch about their childhoods, their lives, their histories, their pasts, like all of the things that shaped the person they are now, and how they're being impacted by, what's going on and all of that. But I think honestly, if you actually look at, how a female character is affected by what she's doing and how a male character is affected by what he's doing, at best you're going to find it's somewhat equal. You're not going to find that the men are more emotionally affected and express that than the female protagonist. I just don't understand. I don't understand this whole fucking thing. Like it does almost seem like they want her to stop every 10 minutes and go to her therapist and talk it out.
I don't think that they did this change for them in particular. I think that, okay, but move forward to about 8:33, I think.
8:33.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
When guns blazing. Oh, and the camera really doesn't deal well with close combat in tight spots.
Okay, here we go.
The world of Rise of the Tomb Raider is beautiful, and I enjoyed those moments in which I felt like I was just exploring and discovering the world for the sheer beauty and enjoyment of it.
Okay.
I love the
Hey,
experience.
stop. All right, Anita and Anita's gay friend. I have discerned your problem. You are playing a game. You know what a game is? A game has objectives. You do things. You solve puzzles. You kill people, whatever.
It's not just shiny to look at.
Yes, it's not just
It's pretty.
traveling around in a fucking pretty... You want... I don't even know if Myst would work for them, but maybe you should try an interactive, like get an Oculus Rift and try an interactive world.
Oh,
Like, not an interactive world, a virtual simulation of a world.
yeah,
because
those things are fucking badass. Holy shit.
yeah, that might be more your speed. Or alternatively, you could try a little older technology that we like to call a movie.
Yeah.
Movie. I think that your problem is that you are playing a game and you don't like games. And listen to what else he has to say.
Oh my god. Do I have
Coming
to-
around corners or climbing up ledges to behold some breathtaking new landscape. But that beautiful world
Well, no, I agree. This is like absolutely amazing. It's very, very awesome graphics.
is constantly reduced to being just a source of stuff to collect.
Yeah. It's a fucking game. It's like Bejeweled. It's like, okay, so you're playing Bejeweled, and you're like, oh, those gems are so pretty. Why does this game reduce me to having to make like matches of 3 in a row? Why can't it just let the jewels be jewels?
Oh God. Keep going.
They're pretty enough. These jewels are pretty enough to captivate me just by sitting on my screen and sparkling at me. And you know, if I have to actually make rows of 3 or 4 or 5, right? And that's what I have to do. Just make these rows of 3 or 4 or 5 in order to continue the gameplay and advance to the next level. It's just really reducing the beauty of those jewels to just another task that I have to do. God damn it!
I don't even understand what the fuck his problem is. Like, it's a game. Of course you're going to have tasks that you have to complete. And of course you're going to have to take things from the environment to complete those tasks. It's a fucking... I mean, I think what his point is that we're exploiting the world. We're exploiting the game world by taking things from it. We're objectifying the game world. Fuck
World was created.
We're not acknowledging the subjectivity of the game world.
This fucking world was created for the player to exploit. Just like my kitchen was not created for me to go in there and just marvel at it every day around 4 o'clock, right? It was actually made for and designed for me to, it exists specifically for me to go in there and use it to cook things.
My God, Karen. I mean, I thought the trampling of the Persian king instead of exploring, or no, sorry, the trampling of the something or other king by the Persian elephants, I thought that was bad. I mean, you didn't even explore a diplomatic option. You didn't even explore it, but now I know that you use your kitchen to make food. Holy fuck. You are an exploitative monster.
I use it. I use it without any thought for how it feels or like how I might be messing it up, right? You know, like getting, dripping shit on the counters and and I use the dishes too, like the dishes. I don't care that they get dirty. Like I just put the food on them.
Have you ever thought about what they feel?
I really haven't. And now I'm starting to think that I'm like an inhuman monster.
Yeah, I mean, how could you possibly just use them like that? It's just fuck.
Oh,
Karen,
God. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's fucking problem is, man. But I have to say, her ass is fucking great.
All right,
I know.
listen.
I know some people weren't real thrilled with the Lara Croft. A lot of sort of hardcore gamers weren't real thrilled with this re-envisioning of the character, but her ass is spectacular. Holy shit. Okay, but it's not my place to look at it, and so I'm shutting up now.
There's just so much stuff to collect in this game.
I know. So many jewels to arrange into rows of 3 or 4 or 5.
Switch to survival instincts, look for the things that glow, and grab them.
It's a game, you nitwit. Like, how is this? I keep coming back to this. It's like he's never played a fucking game. You collect stuff.
He doesn't want a game. He wants to look at paintings, I think.
Yeah, but just go to a fucking museum if you want to look at beautiful things. Watch a movie. Watch the. You know what? We have this these new images that come out of the new TV shit thing. They're mesmerizing. The Apple TV. Yeah. They just put up these images. You just sit there and just zone out while you watch them hover over London. It's mesmerizing. Do that. This is your big problem, Anita and Anita's gay friend. You are playing a game when you want to be staring at a screensaver.
Suddenly, the world isn't this majestic, wondrous place anymore. Rather, it's a place full of little golden things you can snag for your own.
Well, that's what's majestic and wondrous about it. When you're walking in the woods, and I've done some really serious hikes. I've done some major fucking hikes. Some of them when I was 7-8 months pregnant, right? Really, really long 12-kilometer hikes down to the beach and back and the whole bit, right? And you know what the most amazing thing is? It's when you're walking along among the salal and the skunk cabbage and all of the underbrush that's growing along the side, and you've passed that bear that was sitting sort of on a low branch of a tree, and he kind of grunted at you and you grunted back, and then he just let you go, and you're out there in the fucking wilderness. It's the most beautiful fucking place. And you never know what you're going to come across. You never know whether you're going to come across something that's going to kill you or something that's just going to be wonderful. And you come across wild strawberries growing along the side of the path. Wild fucking strawberries. And they're tiny. And they don't get red. They get kind of this sickly pink color. And that's about as ripe as they get. Right? But when you actually taste them, right, they're 100 times more flavorful than store-bought strawberries. Right? They're nothing to look at. You can barely even see them. They have so little color, right? Amongst all the green and brown and beige and black along the sides of the path, right? But oh my God, you find them, you see them, and you stoop down and you pick them, and they're like a treasure that you found, and you pop one in your mouth and it just explodes in your mouth, right? And you're like, I'm so glad that I was the one that found that fucking little patch of wild strawberries. That's what makes that whole fucking experience. It's a wondrous experience from start to finish. But that one, that just fucking puts the topper on it, the cherry on top, right? Is
strawberry
that you
rape.
Yeah, to just take that one thing from the environment and taste it and just be able to experience it completely fully and understand how much more intense that experience is than tasting the strawberry that you bought at the store, right? And he's saying that that's actually an ugly thing.
Well, I guess gardening is ugly then.
Yes.
Any kind of activity in which you force the land to produce shit that for your consumption is practically rape, man. Practically rape.
Yep.
God.
The good thing the farmers are doing the raping, and then they just sell the product to him, so he doesn't have to feel guilty of it.
Personal gain. The world exists just for you to plunder.
No, but the world exists, and it's going to exist for somebody to plunder, whether that's me eating that wild strawberry, or whether that's that bear that I said hello to as I walked by, or whether it's, I don't know, a raccoon or a rat or whatever, right? Somebody's going to eat that wild strawberry. In fact, the wild strawberry, and it's the most amazing thing, the wild strawberry's entire phenotypical design is geared so that its reproduction is dependent on being ingested. Isn't it the most amazing thing? It produces a fruit specifically so that animals will ingest that fruit, and the seeds are impervious to the digestive process. And so they pass out through the stool of the animal somewhere a little further away, right? Somewhere where you wouldn't be able to get the seed there with a little like dandelion puff type thing. No, an animal that, is going to go roaming 20 kilometers in one day, then take a big dump, and then all these seeds in all of that wonderful natural fertilizer, they're going to germinate. It's the most amazing thing. It's almost like you didn't plunder nature at all. It's almost like you're participating in the process of life.
That isn't a safe space.
Well,
Karen, what are these words that you're talking about? Participating, being part of life?
Okay, I'm ashamed now.
Yes, be ashamed. You and your freaking
Strawberries.
strawberry rape, and also saying hi to bears. Did that bear consent to it?
Well, he grunted first.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he consented to have you speak to him. I mean, look at that. You're orally oppressing bears.
That's true.
Your speech. Okay. No, it just continues on in this vein. He essentially whines about the fact that he collects shit in the game, and then he also whines the fact that he kills shit in the game, and it's like, that's a game. There has to be some objectives and goals. I think he's just whining. Do these people really think that the utopia that they envision, where there is no strife, conflict, or any kind of achievement, is like that? You know what? It's going to kill people, because people will die, will want to kill themselves. They will die of suicide because they are so fucking bored.
Well, and if we never actually use the land for our own consumption, then we'll die because we're starving. So, essentially, die of boredom or die of starvation. I don't understand what this guy's point is. How can you think that, I mean, I can understand the idea that it's not okay to pick a flower if you're in a national park and there's these little flowers and you think, well, if everybody who visited this park picked the flowers, then there wouldn't be any flowers left, right? But okay. Do you think a deer just kind of ponders, when he's looking at that wild strawberry? Do you think he ever says, I probably shouldn't take that because that would be exploitative?
I doubt it.
Almost positive not. Same with that bear and that patch of dandelions, he's probably not thinking to himself, I probably shouldn't eat these fucking dandelions because that would be exploitative.
We're the only ones who really think of shit like that. And it's good. It's a good thing. And it's also sort of, our massive ability to feel compassion and subjectify shit. It's a human quality. But the problem is that it also pops out people like this person who is subjectifying not even a world that exists, not even an ecology that exists anywhere in the world. He is subjectifying a program
that was specifically designed to be exploited.
Yeah, he's subjectifying this, and I know what his logic is. It's, well, if we simulate exploiting an ecology by grabbing up all of its readily available jewels and gold coins, and also, sticks and other such paraphernalia of the ecology. If we simulate that, we are teaching ourselves to be exploitative towards the real landscape.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know what? I'm done.
Which we are, but so is every other animal. You think the mosquito is thinking, oh, fuck, if I bite this person, they might feel bad. No, he's not. He's just like, fuck, blood, gimme.
Fucking mosquitoes. You know what? I'm done. I'm going to let you just be sick for the rest of the day. You can go
All right.
blow your nose as many times as you want. I'm done exploiting you, Karen.
I'm very happy about that.
Go have a nap.
You've succeeded in making me feel very bad about myself regarding the strawberries and the elephants. And
Well, I mean, really. I mean, what can I say? Like I said, why did you never pursue a diplomatic option with your Persian elephants?
because it was really fun to watch somebody get gored by elephants.
It's just, you know what, Karen? That's it. Fuck it. I'm done. That's it. You know, and you laugh. You laugh, but I am not. I am serious here.